President Trump and the First Lady hosted a trick-or-treat event at what's left of the White House. And this is one of my favorite things that the president does because it's so clear he never trick-or-treated once in his life.
Japan's new Prime Minister Sanai Takachi said during a press conference that she is nominating President Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. And I can't believe I get to say this, but thank God nobody listens to women.
Breaking news, a grand jury has declined to indict New York Attorney General Letitia James.
My experience as both a prosecutor when I was that in the Justice Department and as a defense attorney, I can't tell you a time in the federal system, not the state system, where a federal prosecutor thought a case was strong enough to bring to a grand jury, and the grand jury has said no.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Donald Trump's week/weekend just keeps getting worse, especially considering a mounting cascade of legal losses is racking up. A pattern of courts rejecting Donald Trump's boldest moves.
Here's something you need to understand about authoritarian tactics. When someone can't defend what they've done, they don't engage with the accusations. They try to silence the accusers. And over the past few months, Colin Jost and Michael Che have been systematically exposing Donald Trump on Weekend Update. His response? Complete silence on the substance of their allegations, combined with weaponizing the FCC to threaten anyone who dares to criticize him.
New poll shows that 47% of voters see Kamala Harris representing change better than Donald Trump. How about now, said Trump with bangs. Next week, Donald Trump will participate in a Fox News town hall before an all-female audience. Well, good luck trying to talk over all those rape whistles.
And maybe it was the 100-degree heat, but it also brought out the weirdest in Trump.
LA and San Francisco, what the hell is happening to our cities? Look, it's Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, stand up.
What? He just told Abraham Lincoln. Given your recent history at rallies, do you really want both you and Abraham Lincoln to stand up?
Let me show you exactly how this pattern works, because what Trump won't defend tells you everything you need to know. Let's start with November 2025, when House Democrats released hundreds of emails from Jeffrey Epstein's private accounts. The documents were damning. One email explicitly stated that Donald Trump knew about the girls in Epstein's trafficking operation. This wasn't speculation. This was Epstein's own correspondence, documenting Trump's awareness of what was happening.
In a new interview, Donald Trump also claimed that President Biden was high on cocaine during the State of the Union, saying he was all jacked up at the beginning. By the end, he was fading fast. President Trump met with Chinese President Xi Jinping. When asked how the meeting went, Trump said this.
But overall, I guess on the scale from 0 to 10, with 10 being the best, I would say the meeting was a 12.
I guess Trump just wanted to show China we're still way worse at math.
So President Trump are calling him tone deaf for posting pictures of his newly renovated White House bathroom during the government shutdown. But I'm happy that the floor looks slippery.
After a federal grand jury refused to re-indict Letitia James, which is a very rare rebuke after full prosecutorial presentation, experts then weighed in and highlighted how unprecedented and ultimately humiliating it is for an administration to seek such a high-profile win in the court and fail.
Pretty big embarrassment for the Justice Department and President Trump's relentless pursuit of revenge by using the powers of his office to go after his political enemies.
Colin Jost didn't hold back on Weekend Update. He told viewers, House Democrats released an email written by Jeffrey Epstein in which he claims that Donald Trump knew about the girls. It's bombshell news that legal experts are calling duh. The audience erupted. Because everyone already knew Trump and Epstein had been close friends for years. The email just confirmed what the photos, the flight logs, and Trump's own words had already suggested. But Jost wasn't done. He looked directly at the camera and said something that cut right to the heart of the matter.
It almost sounds like Donald Trump knows exactly what it feels like to be on cocaine. You know, like at the beginning, you've got a lot of energy. But then, by the end, you're fading fast.
Just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
Volodymyr Zelensky has said that if President Trump provides Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles, he will nominate Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. You know, the prize they give you for selling missiles. There was outrage that another alleged drug smuggling boat from Venezuela has been blown out of the water without warning. And you may not think that's a big deal right now, but one day soon, you'll look at yourself in the mirror and realize you're out of cocaine.
The grand jury case against Letitia James, revived after a prior dismissal, was presented anew, but then jurors said, nah. The lawyer defending James called it unprecedented in his decades of legal work. He's never seen a case that looked solid enough to charge and still be rejected, which to many signaled more than just a failed indictment for this administration.
Trump's like the Forrest Gump of meeting famous pedophiles. Think about that line for a second. Trump's connections weren't accidental. Epstein, Prince Andrew, Diddy. As Jost pointed out, that's a lot, you know? For anyone else, one such connection would be devastating. Trump had a collection. Michael Che took it even further. The emails also included correspondence from Epstein's brother asking about compromising photos.
Well, guys, it happened. Last night, President Trump posted an AI-generated image of himself as the Pope, apparently ordering a one-way ticket to hell. Who posts a photo of themselves dressed like a guy who died a week ago? Trump was at the Pope's funeral. That means he walked past an open casket and was like, oh, we should do a who wore it best.
But more so a public rejection by citizens, not just a judge, but a jury, of what had been pitched as an enforceable criminal case.
Breaking news, a grand jury has declined to indict New York Attorney General Letitia James. Let's get straight to CNN's Caitlin Polans. Caitlin, what are you learning?
Well, Caitlin Collins and I have just confirmed through some sources that indeed a grand jury sitting in the federal courthouse in Norfolk, Virginia today, they looked at the possibility of indicting Letitia James for mortgage fraud, and they said no to this Justice Department. Now, this comes just about 10 days or a week or so after a judge previously dismissed the case. That case was dismissed against James. It was the same mortgage fraud case, we believe.
Specifically, whether Vladimir Putin had images of Trump performing oral sex on someone nicknamed Bubba, which was Bill Clinton's old nickname. Che's response? So I guess that's one job Trump has created. The audience went absolutely wild. Then Che added, I don't know if that oral sex story is true, but I do know that image is burned in my brain like that scene from The Shining. And here's what makes Weekend Update so effective. They're not just making jokes. They're weaponizing Trump's own tactics against him.
President Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK that will reopen British markets for American companies. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
President Trump criticized Time magazine for using a bad picture of him on the cover, saying, quote, they disappeared my hair. And I gotta agree, that thing do look waxed.
Let's take a look also how we've seen over this weekend some bipartisan pushback against the Trump regime policies and war crimes. So in the House Armed Services Committee, we got a bipartisan statement from Mike Rogers of Alabama and the Democrat ranking member Adam Smith. The two leaders, basically, but Republican and Democrat. They say this committee, the House Armed Services Committee, is committed to providing rigorous oversight of the Department of Defense's military operations in the Caribbean. We take seriously the reports of follow-on double-tap strikes on boats alleged to be ferrying narcotics in Southcom region and are taking bipartisan action to gather a full accounting of the operation in question.
Che showed viewers an edited clip of Trump's cameo in Home Alone 2. In the doctored footage, Macaulay Culkin's character asks Trump, "Excuse me, where's Jeffrey Epstein?" Trump responds, "Down the hall and to the left." It's satirical editing, but it captures a deeper truth. Trump knew exactly where Epstein was and what he was doing. If you're finding this channel's approach to political accountability valuable, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're building a community that refuses to let these connections get memory hold. But the Epstein exposures weren't the only hits Jost and Che landed.
Well, this week, President Trump tried to rescue the economy from the disastrous policies of whoever was president last week. On Wednesday, Trump announced he was pausing most tariffs for 90 days. Now, 90 days may not seem like a long time, but remember, Trump has only been president for 82 days, and it already feels like a goddamn decade. Just hours before Trump paused the tariffs, he tried to calm investors by posting, "Be cool, everything is going to work out well." Be cool? This is the global economy. It's not like we got too high and we're trying to get through dinner with our parents.
Trump, while on his trip, said that Iran has sort of agreed to terms for a nuclear deal in the same way Trump has sort of agreed to uphold the Constitution. Many people in Saudi Arabia were very happy with President Trump's visit to the country because rich Saudis love to fly out thick blondes.
Former top military lawyers, some of the leaders in JAG, the Judge Advocate General, the military lawyers, they came out with a statement saying that these follow-on strikes, the double tap strikes, the give no quarters order by Hegseth and anyone in the chain of command was indeed a war crime, and that the individuals involved at all stages should be prosecuted for war crimes.
In December 2025, when new photos of Epstein's private island were released by House Democrats, Jost went for the throat again. He joked about finding a dentist's chair in one of the rooms, then added that it seems very weird, but keep in mind, a lot of Epstein's girlfriends still had braces. The audience audibly gasped. Then Jost quipped that the island was not as nice as I remember, implying he'd been there himself, but really calling out everyone in Trump's circle who had visited. Cho followed up by showing that same edited Home Alone 2 clip, driving home the point about Trump's Epstein connections.
In a cabinet meeting, President Trump acknowledged that due to his tariffs, this Christmas, children might only get 2 dolls instead of 30 dolls. Which brings me to my new segment, Oh Hell No.
Oh hell no!
Oh,
Now, I rarely talk directly to the president, but you listen and you listen good. If I wake up on Christmas morning and I run downstairs to find only 2 dolls under my tree, I will lose my effing mind. There better be a second tree with 28 dolls. And you know, I've put up with a lot under Trump so far. He might be cutting Social Security. Okay, they're old. Screw them. He's deporting innocent kids. They gotta grow up sometime. But if only 2 dolls show up when I've made tea for 30, oh, hell no!
This has been Oh hell no!
The message was clear. This wasn't going away. The evidence kept piling up, and Weekend Update kept making sure viewers understood the implications. Then there was the fake FIFA Peace Prize. In December 2025, FIFA literally invented a peace award and gave it to Trump after he failed to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Colin Jost destroyed him. Trump has not yet won the Nobel Peace Prize, but he did win the equally prestigious Soccer Peace Prize.
It was reported that internal television monitors at the offices of Housing and Urban Development showed an AI-generated video of President Trump kissing the toes of Elon Musk. You can tell the video is AI because in it, Trump is able to bend.
And the thing is, this is far from isolated, right? In fact, according to recent reporting in Reuters, more than 60 federal judges or appeal courts have acted to slow or block various administration policies. I mean, that's a scale of judicial pushback, which is rarely seen in a presidency, not to mention just the first year. But then again, most presidents aren't seeking retribution to the effect of which Donald Trump is. But it's indicative of the chaos that is going on with this administration. I mean, even inside the Department of Justice, tasked with defending Trump-era policies in court.
The sarcasm was cutting. Then Jost delivered the knockout. FIFA actually invented a fake peace prize in Trump's honor, and that's why the trophy shows Trump's gnarled hands dragging the entire earth into hell. They even showed the trophy graphic, Trump's hands clutching the planet, pulling it downward. It was brutal, visual, and impossible to defend. Weekend Update also went after Trump's cognitive decline. When Trump announced he'd release his MRI results from October, Jost quipped, Trump said he will soon release the results of his MRI.
Well, just hours ago, Donald Trump won the South Carolina primary, which means that Trump is now undefeated everywhere except court. Trump has basically locked up the nomination, and he's clearly already pivoting to the general election with a more moderate, unifying tone.
November 5th will be our new Liberation Day, but for the liars and cheaters and fraudsters and censors and imposters who have commandeered our government, it will be their judgment day. Their judgment day.
Now, where did I hear that before? Oh, right, Bane.
While all of this is taking place, Donald Trump continues to threaten war on Venezuela. And, the same way that you had Putin say denazification when it came to Ukraine, Donald Trump is saying that Venezuela, that is a drug narco trafficking country, and that there's this drug trafficking narcoing gang, and that Maduro's the leader of the drug trafficking cartel, and as a result, all of this fentanyl is coming into the United States.
When ABC brought Kimmel back a week later after massive backlash, Trump threatened to test ABC. The network had reportedly lost over 1.7 million Disney Plus subscribers during Kimmel's suspension as protests mounted. But the damage was done. Every network exec now knows that criticizing Trump too harshly could bring FCC investigations, advertiser pressure, and threats to their broadcast licenses. This is what Trump won't defend: the documented evidence of his Epstein connections, his fake awards, his cognitive decline, his economic failures.
Donald Trump, seen here being rescued after 30 days in a lifeboat, gave a press conference from inside a garbage truck with his name on it. And my favorite part was when he tried to open the door of the truck but missed. Oh my God, he looks as drunk as I'm gonna be Tuesday night. On his website, truthsocial. I'm gonna guess scam, Donald Trump denied reports that he was so depressed after the 2020 election that he stopped eating, saying, quote, "It was not that I was not eating, it was that I was eating too much." Wow, good save. That's like when a rumor went around middle school that I had peed my pants, and I was like, joke's on you, because I actually pooped them.
Let's give the undisputed facts. Maduro is a dictator. Maduro is a terrible person. Maduro is an illegitimate leader in Venezuela. All of those things are true. At the same time, we can actually give the facts that there's not fentanyl coming in from Venezuela. By and large, the drugs that are killing Americans are coming in from Mexico or coming in from the Pacific, not from Venezuela or Colombia or any of these areas right here. And when Donald Trump is saying all these things, what he's really just trying to cover for is, and we've heard MAGA Republican Congress members like Salazar and others say, we want to take over the oil. The American oil companies are salivating at the idea of getting their hands on that Venezuelan oil.
Instead, he weaponizes government agencies to threaten anyone who exposes him. Colin Jost and Michael Che aren't backing down. They keep hitting him week after week on Weekend Update. But Trump's response reveals his entire playbook: silence the accusers, threaten the platforms, never engage with the substance. Because when you can't defend what you've done, you attack the people pointing it out. And when you control government agencies like the FCC, you can turn those attacks into existential threats to free speech itself. That's not just Trump being thin-skinned.
On Air Force One to the Middle East to celebrate the ceasefire, President Trump told reporters, "I don't think there's anything that's going to get me into heaven." Then he paused for 10 full minutes, waiting for someone to say, "That's not true." Because Trump can't go to heaven. He's far too busy down here, running hell.
Order giving refugee status to white people from South Africa. I could have sworn that white people had it good in South Africa. Must be the Mandela effect. The Trump administration announced that after face-to-face talks with China, it is lowering tariffs from 145% to 30%, which is a little like OJ bragging about taking the knife out.
Colin Jost summed it up perfectly when he said Trump is like the Forrest Gump of meeting famous pedophiles. The difference is, Forrest Gump was innocent. Trump knew exactly where he was going and who he was with. The emails prove it. The photos prove it. His silence on Weekend Update's exposures proves it. And his FCC threats, those prove he knows he can't win this fight on the facts. So he's trying to make sure the fight never happens at all. End. Word count, 1,893 words.